All right, welcome to the elevator pitch. Our guest today is Tony Licata. I've known Tony my entire career in the real estate business and in business. And Tony's one of the legendary attorneys here in Chicago, former managing partner of Taft, published author, knows a lot of big words. I mean, so many words that his daughter is a librarian, went to one of the finest colleges in the land to work in the arts in that way. And so wanted to introduce the world of Tony, the world that doesn't know Tony, to Tony. And he's certainly on one of the most influential people in my career, and he's done a lot for me, but more importantly, he's done a lot for so many people. So welcome, Tony Licata. How does a guy from small town Illinois get to where you've been? Can you talk a little bit about where you grew up and how?
Yeah, sure. I was born and raised in a small town in southern Illinois called DuQuoin, Illinois. It was about 20 miles north of Carbondale, coal mining town. Both of my grandfathers were coal miners. I happened to have the good fortune to meet a young man from DuQuoin who had gone to Harvard University and gotten a PhD in history, and I was so impressed with him that I went to the college that he went to. It was called McMurray College in Jacksonville, Illinois.
Oh, wow.
So I went there and took a degree in political science.
That's why you went to McMurray?
That's why I went
because you met a guy?
Because I met a guy who had went to McMurray and then gone on to Harvard. And his name was Alan Cressman. And he was the smartest guy I had ever met. And so I get to McMurray and I get through McMurray. I had decided I wanted to go to law school. So I was getting ready to, and I did okay in college, and I was getting ready to apply to law school, and my mother, of all people, encouraged me to apply to Harvard Law School. And I said, I don't want to apply to Harvard Law School. It's a lot of work to fill out that application. I'll never get in. And besides that, it's $25 to apply. And I didn't want to waste $25 in those days. And so she said, I'll tell you what, if you apply and you work, fill out the application, I'll give you the $25.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I said, okay. So I applied, and then this letter came, and I was sure it was a rejection, so I put it up on the shelf for 3 or 4 days. And it finally opened, and it was an admission letter. Oh. And so I, somehow, I always tell people that Harvard Law School must have been desperate for somebody to anchor the bottom end of the curve.
God bless you.
And so they needed somebody. I had all these other plenty smart people. They needed some average intellect people there, so that was my role. And I was pretty good at that, actually. So somehow stumbled my way through Harvard University Law School and got recruited by the law firm of Sidley and Austin in Chicago, and as part of that recruiting process met a great man named Newton Minow, M-I-N-O-W, Newton Minow. Some of you and some of the listeners may have heard a famous saying about television is a vast wasteland. Newton Minow said that. He was chairman of the FCC under President Kennedy, and then had entered private law practice at Sidley and Austin. And so I had met him during the recruiting process and was so dazzled with his intellect and his contacts and everything about him that I took the job at Sidley and got myself assigned to his team. Wow. And then started doing work with him. And of course through him then, I started meeting all kinds of amazing people during the course of my career. Right. I have to say I owe it all to Newton Minow. One of my favorite things about Newton Minow, by the way, is you may have seen, you may be just old enough to remember a TV show called Gilligan's Island.
I watched the reruns when I was a kid.
What was the name of the boat?
The SS Minnow.
Named for
Newton Minow. Oh, that's pretty wild.
You can win a trivia contest with that.
Yeah.
Then he introduced me to another, at that point, relatively young partner, up and coming, named Jack Guthman. Jack Guthman went on to become the most prominent and best achieving zoning lawyer in the city of Chicago through multiple mayors. And so together with Jack, we had this fabulous real estate development career.
So, Newton Minow, what were some of the lessons that you learned from him specifically?
Oh, gosh, I could. He passed away about a year and a half ago, and I've been toying with writing an article about lessons I learned from the senior partner, and I've even joked with his daughter. His daughter went on to be dean of the Harvard Law School.
Wow.
And he had hired Michelle, who became later Michelle Obama,
Yeah.
for the summer, and Newt's daughter, who was at that point just a professor at the law school, called Newt one day and said, "I've got a kid in my class, he's the smartest kid I've ever had, you ought to hire this kid." And that turned out to be Barack Obama, and that's how Barack met Michelle.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. And as a matter of fact, when Barack got sworn in, one of his very first guests in the Oval Office was Newton Minow.
Oh, that is hilarious.
So that's a great story. But what lessons did I learn from him? Oh, there were so many. It was unbelievable. He would, he would always say to you, he'd present you with some unbelievably convoluted, difficult problem. And I was young and didn't know anything, and I would say, "Wow, Mr. Minow, what do I do with this?" And he would say, "You're a lawyer, go figure it out."
You were a history major, right? Or
Political
no, you were
science.
poli-sci major.
Political science.
So
Yeah, they used to give me grief. I attacked the soft underbelly of the academic curriculum by studying political science, because I wanted to, when I was at that point in my life, Harvard, it wasn't even on my wish list at that point,
Right.
and so I had thought I would, go to my dream was to go to the University of Illinois Law School and then go back home to Southern Illinois.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Were you wanted to be a politician?
And I wanted to be a politician in Southern Illinois.
Yeah.
And, so that's why I was taking political science. I was going to go to law school. And then this letter comes, that my mother had gotten me to apply for. And what are you going to do when you get a chance like that, So I took it.
Did your mom push you academically, or was it always just something that was in you?
It was just in me, I think. I had wonderful parents. My parents were fantastic.
And you've worked with some real notable people. You've worked with a lot of people of influence and wide reach. I mean, who are some of the folks that I know you worked with Don King,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But it just,
Yeah,
within the legal constraints of what you can say about some of these folks.
Well, at Sidley, I was at Sidley in Austin for about 15 years, and then had the opportunity to leave Sidley and become the head of the real estate practice group at a law firm called Shefsky and Fraley, and then became managing partner at Shefsky and Fraley, and then became partner in charge of the Chicago office of the Taft law firm after Shefsky merged with Taft. Anyway, when I was at Sidley, Sidley, believe it or not, had the distinction of having made the first African-American partner of major law firms in the city of Chicago.
Is that right?
A fellow named Charles Lomax, who had been regional head of the regional counsel for the IRS, and Sidley brought him as a partner, and he brought along, of all clients in the world to think about Sidley and Austin, the Nation of Islam and Muhammad Ali. And then Muhammad Ali got us introduced to Don King. So in my early career, I was, tasked with a number of assignments for Muhammad Ali, and then Don King, and then, of all people, Mike Tyson. So, I did a lot of interesting things for them, and had a great experience. I will say, most people are complex. A lot of people are, they may have a public persona that is of a certain type, but if you get to know them personally, they're people just like you and me or anybody else. And so years and years and years and years ago, somebody once taught me, and I try to do that. I try to live this way, and you've seen this. I try to look for something good in every person that I come into contact with, and I try to relate to the good. And that's hard sometimes with some of these folks. But, by and large, even people who have a reputation of being the biggest SOB in the county can be, you get to know them better, and you find out what's really bothering them and so forth. So So that was a pretty interesting
Was that your
part of
number
my
one
career.
skill set as you were running the law firm? I mean, what from a because leading all those people from a management
Yeah,
perspective
you
is
know,
a lot different.
I always tell people trying to run a law firm is like herding cats, because what makes a good lawyer, a really good lawyer? They're intelligent,
Right.
they are argumentative, they are detail-oriented,
Right.
they are aggressive.
Right.
So all of those factors that make them good lawyers
Make them impossible.
make
to
it
manage.
impossible to manage. So,
So, take a look at what's going on in the world today. I would love a little Tony Licata thought on, like what's going on with Russia. Let's go France, Germany,
yeah.
the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, what
I'm no better qualified than anybody. I just watch TV and read, the newspaper. But I will say, however controversial this may be, that I hear efforts in the United States to not want to support Ukraine
right.
in this horrible invasion by Putin. And I ask myself, because I'm a student of history,
Right,
as you
yeah,
know,
right.
and how anybody who is aware of what happened in 1937 and 1938 and 1939 in Europe,
Right.
with Germany and Poland and Czechoslovakia, how you could stand back and be watching this and think that this is history repeating itself.
Right.
There's nothing more important for the United States to be doing than to prevent Putin from just marching in and conquering a country like that, especially when they're trying to be friends with us,
Right.
So you got that whole situation going on, and then you've got a very complex situation, obviously, with China and Taiwan.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then you throw in, just for good mix, Israel and Hamas,
Right.
which is a horrible situation from every aspect of every perspective.
Just sitting down here with like this is great because I learned a little bit more about you.
Yep.
I mean, your old man and Newton Minnow and so I think what would be really good is the question I like to ask is Tony Licata. Who is Tony Licata in 20 seconds or less?
Tony Licata is the luckiest guy who ever was born. I've had great parents, great friendships, great relationships, and what I ever did to deserve any of that, I can't imagine. I've just been incredibly well blessed and lucky beyond belief, and I'm grateful to God for all that He gave me.
No, that's awesome. And what does the future hold for you?
Well, as long as my health holds up, I want to continue to practice law. People ask me, I get asked about 5 times a day now, when are you going to retire? I'm going to be 70 in a few weeks here, but my health is still good, knock on wood, if there's sunny around here. And, as long as your health holds up, I'm not practicing now, not working now because I have to. I'm doing
Right.
it because I want to.
Right.
And I love problem solving. I love we've been together through thick and thin.
Oh, yeah.
I love problem solving. I love helping people out of the scrapes and jams.
By
that
the
they
way,
get themselves into.
Tony's solved maybe the biggest early problem in my life. It caused me a lot of stress.
Yeah, we worked our way through it.
Yeah.
So, as long as I can keep contributing and, as long as I can maintain possession of my marbles, I want to continue to help people and solve problems for them.
Well, Tony, I've always loved your marbles. You've been great for us. You've been a great friend to Circle City Rebar and everything that we've been doing. And ever since I've known you, you've been nothing but helpful. And it was just great learning a little bit more about you.
Great,
And
thank you.
Appreciate you, brother.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. Appreciate you too.
Yeah.